Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Dr. Abrar YouTube channel. My topic is immunity and vaccination. So first of all, let me define immunity. Immunity is our body's ability to resist and to respond against diseases. So now I am going to tell you the detail, but before going into the detail, my request is to subscribe my channel and share it with other students. Thank you. So types of immunity. Here there are mainly two types of immunity: active immunity and passive immunity. So active immunity is present in our body, and once again there are two types of active immunity. One is innate immunity and the other is adaptive immunity. The innate immunity is present by birth in our body. It is found and it is there innate by birth. That's why it's called innate. While the adaptive immunity, later on with the time, the body adopts itself and prepares this immune system. So one immune system is present by birth in our body, in a child, and the adaptive immunity is the immunity when the body by the growth and later on in the years the body gradually develops this adaptive immunity. So the innate immunity is generalized, like it is general and it is effective for all kind of microbes, for all kind of microorganisms, all kind of bacteria, viruses, pathogens, invaders, germs which are entering into our body, which are trying to enter into our body and which are trying to infect our body. So it is generalized innate immunity. But the adaptive immunity is specific. It is only specific for a particular type of microbe, a particular bacterium, a particular specific type of virus. So there is one basic difference between the two types of immunity. The second thing is that if we come to the innate immunity, so there are barriers. These barriers, they prevent the microbes or the invaders to get entry into our body. First kind of barrier is physical barrier. Like skin is the physical barrier. It is the first line of defense. Like in the ancient times, in the past, there were castles and there were strong walls of the castles which used to prevent the invaders to come and to enter into the city. So the strong walls of the fort and the strong walls of the you can say castle, they used to prevent the enemy. The same is the case with skin. Our skin is also a kind of castle. It is a kind of strong wall. It is the physical barrier. And if the skin is there, so the microbes, bacteria, viruses, different kind of germs, they cannot enter into our body. The skin is the physical barrier. Another physical barrier is the mucous membrane, which can be present in our mouth, in the digestive system, or in the respiratory system, which produces mucus, a sticky type of material. This mucus, if the bacteria, if the viruses, if the different kind of microbes or pathogens or the invaders, they enter into the respiratory system or the digestive system, so they get stick with it. The mucus sticks those foreign particles and they do not let it to enter into the body. So these two are the physical barriers. And then the mucus, along with it, in the respiratory tract there are cilia, the hair-like structure, which keep moving upward and they move the pathogens out of the body through nose, or they make it enter into the stomach, and in the stomach there is hydrochloric acid. Hydrochloric acid is very strong acid and it kills all the type of pathogens in the bacteria immediately. So these are the two type of barriers, either the physical barrier or the chemical barrier. Now come to so remember that I am talking about the innate immunity which is present by birth. So the other type of component of the innate immunity is macrophages and neutrophils, which I mentioned in my previous lecture. So these are the different type of white blood cells. Either these are macrophages, which are large, or the neutrophils. They engulf the viruses or bacteria, and they engulf and they eat up and they swallow it, and in this way they kill it. They contain digestive enzymes, lysosomes, and they digest the pathogen by engulfing, and then they digest it. But on the other hand, now I will come to adaptive immunity. As I told in the beginning, that adaptive immunity is very specific. This adaptive immunity works only for a particular kind of bacterium, for a particular kind of virus. For example, only it can be effective against polio virus, or it can be, there will be certain type of mechanism which will be only effective against polio virus. There will be certain kind of mechanism which will be effective against only chickenpox, or which will be only effective against influenza, or which can be only effective against coronavirus, etc., etc. So each one has a specific one, specific system. For instance, now and they also have some chemicals like cytokines. These act as signals. They send the signals to activate the adaptive immune system. Now the immune system, for example, the components here in the adaptive immune system are B cells or the T cells. The B cells and the T cells are the lymphocytes, the white blood cells, either the B lymphocytes or the T lymphocytes. The B lymphocytes are the cells which produce antibodies. And what are antibodies? They are made of protein, and they are the weapons through which the body will defend and will resist and will kill the foreign invaders, will microbes and pathogens and bacteria, viruses or pollens or any foreign particle. So now the B cells will produce antibodies. The B cells will produce antibodies, or they will turn into plasma cells. The B cells can change into plasma cells, and the function of the plasma cells is to secrete and to produce a large number of antibodies against that specific antigen, against that specific pathogen. Another thing is that the B cells can produce, and they produce, memory cells. Here remember that the memory cells are very important. Memory cells, as it is obvious from its name, that they will remember they will keep in their memory that specific enemy. They will keep the biodata of that specific enemy which invaded the body. They will remember and store the data of its mode of action, its structure of the antigen of the enemy. And if later on in the future, if that same enemy, if the same pathogen attacks the body, so the memory cell quickly recognize them and quickly will respond through producing more plasma cells, and the antibodies will be already there in the body, and they will attack that foreign invader, because now the memory cells know their enemy. So this is the function of the memory cells. So here, now once again I will come to the innate immunity. Innate immunity has no memory. Remember, it has no memory. But here the adaptive immune system has long lasting memory. because they have memory cells which remember the past encounters. But now come to the last point, that if we talk about the time of action, time of response, so here in the innate immunity response is comparatively shorter, and they show the response in lesser time. The duration can be, the response can be shown in minutes or in hours. In minutes or in hours, maybe in 5 minutes, maybe in 20 minutes, or maybe in 2 hours. But as compared to that, the adaptive immune system, its response time is longer. It may take few days to few weeks, maybe 4 weeks, maybe 5 weeks to show a response. It may take few weeks, maybe 5 weeks to produce sufficient amount of antibodies and to produce sufficient amount of plasma cells to fight against a particular invader. So therefore, now there is a risk. There are equal chances. One chance is that the body becomes successful, the immune system becomes successful, because it is a fight between the invaders and the defenders of our body. Because there is a fight between the foreign invaders like microbes or pathogens and our body police, the immune system, the white blood cells, the T lymphocytes and the B lymphocytes, and the body's immune system. So if the response time is, for example, the body is able to defend successfully and the invaders are lesser in number, they do not get chance enough time to multiply, so maybe the body becomes successful and our bodies maybe successfully comes out of this disease. For example, in case of corona, a person survives from corona, and because now his body become immune. Now but in case, for example, the body's immune system was weak and it took too much long time to produce sufficient amount of antibodies, so what will happen? That the virus or that invader will multiply in number and that will overcome, and that because of that the body may get defeated and the person unfortunately may die. So there are equal chances. Therefore, the reason is, what is the reason? That the immune system may get failed because of the delayed response. Now the solution, the scientists, what they did? The solution was vaccination. Now we come to the point of vaccination. So what is vaccination? That the scientists and the researchers, they introduce and they inject a weak pathogen or dead pathogen into the body through injection or through polio drops or through some sort of oral vaccine or a vaccine in the form of injection. So, but that is either dead pathogen or weak pathogen, but the body thinks that it is a real pathogen. So our body immune system becomes active. So the B cells recognize them and they start producing antibodies and plasma cells, and it starts producing memory cells. Now the memory cells are patrolling in the blood circulatory system and in the lymphatic system, and they have recognized and they have stored all the data of that enemy, and the antibodies, sufficient amount of antibodies are there. So in future, for example, if the real pathogen, the live pathogen attacks, so our body has developed immunity because of the vaccination. This is vaccination. What is vaccination? A weak pathogen or dead pathogen is entered into the body to activate our adaptive immune system. So now if vaccination has been done, so in future, after 10 years, after 15 years in lifetime, so the body is able to defend that coronavirus because our body has got vaccination. body is able to defend that influenza virus or that particular pathogen. So this is the thing here. And the other thing which I would like to mention, the T cells. This is also an important component of the adaptive immune system. The T cells, either they kill the infected cells or they kill the cancer cells. So T cells has the ability to kill the cells which have been infected by that pathogen. So they kill them and they destroy the pathogen as well as the infected cell, or they kill the T cells, attack the cancer cells. So this is the active immunity. And the last thing is the passive immunity. Passive immunity is, as it is obvious from its name, that passive immunity is not the type of immunity which is developed by our body. It is injected or it is provided by a foreign source. For example, if it is innate, passive immunity is innate. So after the baby, when it is given mother's milk, so when the mother nurses and provides milk, its own milk to the baby, to the child, so the mother's milk contains antibodies. The mother's antibodies are transferred through milk into the child's body, and it enables the child, the baby, few months baby, to defend itself, because its own system is not working properly. Its own adaptive system is not working properly, so that mother's milk is providing antibodies. So this is passive immunity. This is called passive immunity. Another type of passive immunity is adopted by the doctors in medical science. What they do, that for example, a coronavirus patient has survived. It means that now his body is containing antibodies and the plasma cells and the memory cells of against that coronavirus. So what they do, that they take the blood. So that person if he has survived from COVID-19, so now he donates the blood. That blood is centrifuged and the white blood cells are separated. This serum is injected into a patient, and this serum is full of antibodies. Once again, it is a passive immunity. So passive immunity is a different thing, but active immunity is the immunity which our body develops itself, and especially now I repeat, vaccination. Why vaccination is done? Because a dead or a weak pathogen is entered into our body so that our body's adaptive immune system become active. The B cells and the T cells become active, especially the B cells. They produce sufficient amount of antibodies and the plasma cells and the memory cells, so that if in future the real pathogen, live pathogen attacks, the body is ready to welcome that pathogen. Welcome means to attack and successfully defend our body against that. So this is all about. Thank you very much.